live. Ooh, welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. This is the third episode we're doing. Wow, third one. I know I wanted to do with you on the first episode. This is today we have Mohammed Usman Ali. My dear friend. It's a really my soul brother more than anything. I speak that from the heart. You know, Mohammed. Wow, this just I don't know. I was just why don't you um we're talking about ego earlier. What is ego to you?
It's me trying to be something other than me.
What do you mean by that?
So when you put on a mask and you say, I'm the Joker, or you plastic surgical experience, like when you take basically whatever's happening to you and you know what really happened, but you want to make it look like it was a little bit better, you know. And you're being a screenwriter in Hollywood, which is like all about fantasy and, making it all sexy and commercial. But you know what it really is deep down, but you're doing that to please something other than yourself because you yourself deep down know what it really is and you're putting on an act. Why? It's usually just to it's to just like, why can't you just be you? Why do you have to do that? I don't know. I feel like anything around those lines maybe could be classified as unoriginal, inauthentic, fake, which is really just the human ego. But it needs to be there. It plays a part. It plays its part, and we have to embrace that we have that part of ourselves that is not so angelic, more like demonic, but it gives us balance because if we have only, you know, angelic, then you think you're, more than a human, but you're a human. Humans are, very powerful creatures in in humanity, and we have to just be able to accept that we're created in a certain way and we've been given certain faculties and skills or qualities or gifts, and let's be content with that limitation of power. It is power, but there is limits to the power, and that limit is perfect because if there is no limits, it's lust. The limits allow us to be in love, which I believe is a purpose of life. It's to love.
What is to love to you?
It's to just listen to your heart, to be very honest with yourself and trust your gut guidance, as they say, or good feeling, or intuition, or instinct. These are all words, but it's just something beyond logic and it's beyond your head telling you you must do this by this specific period of time. Otherwise, what? Are you going to die? If you die, then that's part of your plan. You need, it's so I think it's about really surrendering and synchronizing with that whisper. And when you do, you're in love. And love is not one day in Hollywood when you find someone on the beach and the sun is setting or rising. It's really today, it's every day, it's every moment. And it's it's unfathomable, it's non quantifiable, it's unpredictable, unexplainable, and unforgetful.
Love is unforgettable, you know. Do you remember that feeling you had when you first fell in love?
Yeah, yeah. It's just pure joy, pure laughter, like a baby. You know, the baby just giggles away, and there's no reason for that giggling. It's just giving yourself the feeling of, you know, happiness for free, and it remains forever. It truly does if we continue to listen to that heart that we've been given for free from birth.
Oh yeah, you know, but we think about listening to the heart, it gives me to thinking, you know, what if like a serial killer listened to their heart and decides just to kill people? Because I was watching the anime, Rages of Ragnarok. I don't know if you know that anime. It's where they put like all these human beings, like all these great human beings, fighting against all these gods of all these different religions, and it's kind of like God versus man, you know. And one episode is actually Heracles, you know, the big Heracles, the Greek god, fighting Hercules, fighting Jack the Ripper.
Mm.
Yeah. And then Jack the Ripper is like, even Jack the Ripper loved Shakespeare. In there, he would just keep talking about Shakespeare. But like, even if a serial killer who, you know, as an artist, right? We want that to inspire others to love. What if somebody just like Jack the Ripper just loves killing? Do we like? What if your heart just wants to kill? Where is that coming from the heart?
Anything that's inhumane, that stems from hate, that is horrific, comes from the head. HEAD. The mind, the brain, the logical reasoning faculties that tell us we must do this. And if only they ask themselves, why? Why? Why do I really need to do this? Do I really need to? Why? I mean, in human history, if we analyze great men who have done great things, some of them were in wars, right? Some of them were leaders of a country, and they challenged the status quo. They decided to start a war. They dictated an objective that everyone followed. People died in that process, maybe their own people and other people. Do you blame the man who dictated the war? Maybe he killed someone on that path. And I think it comes back to your intention. Most human beings are unaware of their intention. Some human beings are aware. And part of those some human beings that are aware, if they pursue a path that is motivated by love, LOVE, then who are we to judge their process on the path of love? You know, there's a quote that I live by. I've heard it from a very wise woman, and it goes around the lines of all is fair in love and war. And I never understood that. But I think I do now. Because in essence, the law of polarity dictates that everything appears to be a polar opposite, but in essence, they're the same. The world is round, unless you believe in the flat earth theory, which is fine. But the world is round, so everything is a cycle. It comes back to its source. So the black becomes the white, and the white becomes the black. So we need to realize that the war and the hate, or the war and the love, in essence, are existent from the same source, the same power, the same fueling energy. The people who were saving their countries, who were robbing a bank, who were blowing up a building, who knows how they felt years prior to that plan? Were they inspired by love to make a decision for the motive of helping someone in their family? I've met drug dealers who probably run the biggest corrupted networks in Canada, from human trafficking to who knows what. They might have all the police departments in their pocket, but when he tells me, looking at me in the eyes, and says, "Oh, I'm just motivated by one thing, to really make money for my family." There's one thing you hear in the Godfather movie where they act like it's the family and everyone is the family, so they're really just lying to themselves. But there's another part of a human that you can sense. If you are honest, you can sense the honesty. And if that drug dealer looked me in the eyes and he said genuinely he's just motivated to bring food and comfort to his family at home with a roof, the way that a little guy in the village who cleans the streets may say the same thing, I felt that within him. So I don't judge what he does. I really don't know what he does. It's an assumption. But if he were to do those acts that are perceived to be criminal acts and he should be imprisoned for them, if his intention is pure, which I'll never know, the source of that intention only knows, then all is fair in love and war. Because love and war are not different. They're twin brothers or twin sisters.
But in that case, what is the source to you when you speak of the source?
For what Darren has just asked me to comment on. I just know that there has to be something beyond the superhero's power. What gave Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman their power? They have power. If you remember the movie, Peter Parker, number one, Spider-Man 1, he was, in love with Mary Jane, and he saw her, and he was so in awe of her, and he pulled out his camera, and he took a picture. It's that feeling in his heart. Was he the source of that feeling? I don't think so. Because he was so inspired in that moment, he took that picture. And that picture led to, the camera falling and the spider coming and biting him. And then that led to his power of the web. So Spider-Man's power came in existence through certain circumstances. He didn't even perceive how those circumstances could have came about. So there is something beyond Spider-Man that gave Spider-Man life, because Peter Parker wasn't really born until he got life. So he never really had any power. He is perceived to have power in New York City on a movie screen, but in the end of the day, he's another human being like you and I, sitting right now maybe on a couch smoking a cigar or eating a piece of bread or drinking some tea. So the thing is that there is a source beyond Spider-Man that created Spider-Man or created us as human beings. We all have some power, but it's not the ultimate power. Could it be? If it was, and we should be able to, literally change the weather, we would be able to, snap a finger, go wherever, or we think we have power. We don't really have power. So then you have to conclude that there's got to be something beyond our power. How does the sun rise and set? Do we have an app on our phone that can do that? We don't. Even if we didn't have the app, that powers on our controls on an app. So none of these technologies that we talk about, the AI and this whole world, assumes they have power, but it's an assumption of power. They don't really have power. So then you got to figure out that there is something beyond our imagination that we can't really understand that's controlling the movements of the sun, for example. And that's the source that he's talking about. So I believe there is a source, and I've seen some, miracles of this source, and I trust this source. I believe the source gives me the ability to breathe 24,000 times a day. Right? And I'm grateful. I think it's all about being grateful. Just being grateful. Because that's all you need to do if you realize that there is a source. You just be like, hey, thanks. Thanks, man. Thanks, whatever. In different religions, they have different terms or words or titles that they place upon the word source. Like we are using the word source right now. So, there is a hand that we all have. Human beings, they all have a hand. And the hand is in a certain shape, in a certain way, for a reason, not by accident. So, in the Arabic language, if you look at the hand and then you look at the way the hand was shaped, you see the word of the source in the Arabic language. By that, Allah, right? So, yeah.
It's very interesting how like language really at the same time how language can get. I know in both Chinese or in the whole Chinese character speaking writing world, and also with the Arabic Muslim world. Language has been really it's a way of wisdom. How like how like Latin and Greek was, and really English today. I feel like most folks are still learning about English because English is being used so widely all over the world, and it's not everybody's first language. They say that thing, your mother's tongue. I truly felt what mother's tongue really means. Because like the idea of mother, the idea of mother. What do you think about the idea of mother?
Mommy, that's the what I used to call my mom. Um, I didn't grow up in the UK, so I didn't say mummy, and I didn't say mom. I said mommy, Mommy. A spiritual master told me that the most powerful person in your life is your mom. I mean, it makes sense because who really could help you as much as your mom? Because like she kind of literally like kept you inside of her stomach for 9 months. Um, you know, so it's like I think mom or mother, this power through a woman that manifests from the source to be in that state of conceiving, breathing for 9 months, and then birthing whenever it's decreed by that source, is something that you know a robot can't do. A robot just can't do that. We as men can't do that. We're limited by our so-called power. You can't pay for that power either.
Hmm. It's to raise. I was hearing these stories from a friend of mine who's Mongolian descent. He was telling me the idea of how like wolves, you know, like Genghis Khan was called a son of a child of the wolves
Mm.
because the way that the wolves, um, something about them,
Mm.
something about the wolves. It's the idea of that divine masculine, if you know what I'm saying.
Wolves, eh?
Wolves, yeah. It's the way of the wolves.
Divine masculine.
It's kind of like that Roman idea too, you know, but not too quite. It's more of a, it's like our Asian way of wolfing the entire thing. But I'd like to expand on that maybe in
Tell
the
me, tell
future.
me. So wolves. I wonder if the animals themselves have some really, you know, beautiful part that we haven't really understood yet as
Yeah,
humans.
like telepathy that dolphins can do,
Mm.
you know. Dogs can smell so many things. There's dogs, cats, snakes, they can see things, bats, you know, and like even chicken, you know, and all these things that's just be so crazy, man. To think about like there's so many like what is the consciousness inside the mind of an animal?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Even if we do all the research for years in the labs, we won't figure it all out. It's a mystery.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite but imagine yourself as an animal though. Like if following the Darwinian evolution,
Mm.
you know, we came from chimpanzees and monkeys, you know,
Apparently.
and so we must have felt like a monkey at some point of our evolution.
Maybe it wasn't literally monkeys we were in the bodies of. Maybe it's a metaphor, a symbol to represent a state of being that a human could get into, which is maybe very animalistic, opposite of maybe angelic, and it's very, self-driven. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not trying to judge any animals, but I'm just saying. Um, yeah, I wonder if I don't. Yeah, maybe we need
Like, have you
dark.
ever looked at like YouTube videos of just like wild animals doing their thing?
Yeah,
Like, I'll watch a lot of like chimpanzees and bonobo videos,
yeah.
and a lot of them times they would just be you see how human they are, or at the same time how chimpanzee we are sometimes. You know,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
like we
sure.
can't afford, we can't escape the fact that we are still an animal of this earth,
Yeah.
no matter how much we try to detach ourselves from it.
Yeah, I mean, look at the corporate world of selling products and services. It's like Animal Kingdom. You
Um,
know. Yeah.
Speaking of selling, have why? It's very interesting that you decided to put all your motivational courses for free.
Mm.
What? Tell me a little bit about it. Tell like why do you do that?
Mm. Well, growing up, I've been to the public schools, which are free in Canada, um, private schools in Saudi Arabia that are paid for. Um, and it's very it was both experiences were very drastically different. Either way, I didn't value the education. Whether my parents paid for the schooling or got it for free from the government, I didn't value it because I didn't understand myself to know what I'm seeking to learn. And then when you discover that, then oh my God, I love learning in this way. So then that process is like entertainment, like Netflix, but then it has some educational benefits that are priceless. So I realized that, who am I to, you know, push an agenda through a philosophy of education by convincing them they need to follow a certain pedagogy, uh, which means literally, I mean, I don't know, I don't have the knowledge to even comment on that. But the point is that it sounds great, the word. I mean, in the educational space, you use the word pedagogy, something to do with curriculum and the structure of how they present information. At the end of the day, it's all information. I think information is really made up by a man or a woman in wherever part of the world. I'm talking about the knowledge that is distributed at universities or colleges or high school campuses or schooling in general. I mean, I wrote a book. I know how books are written. You just sit there and you come up with ideas and you type it on a piece of paper that you somehow see on a screen called a laptop, and then it gets printed out. And then I've been to the printing stores and I see these random thoughts like in physical form from the non-physical. So then you wonder, like, oh, really? Okay, I get this. This is a joke, right? So then you go to the university lectures and then you see that joke being sold for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're a U of T student. You pay a lot of money, don't you? So University of Toronto, for those who are not familiar with the terminology or the abbreviation of a university. So when you see the behind the scenes of how information is and how man's mind can come up with infinite ways to position something to be truthful or whatever, I'm not talking about the holy books and the prophets. I mean, that's a total different world that this does not have anything to do with. I'm talking about education in the way that it's positioned in the 21st century. It's very much profit based. It's very much capitalistic or commercialized for the purpose of making people who are unaware of themselves, which means they're insecure, making them feel secure by giving them a paper called a degree or giving them a philosophy that they are told to believe in that can potentially give them some money one day if they continue on the path of an educational, grade 1 to your PhD, right? Kindergarten is great, but it's just a bunch of games that you let the kids play with their imagination, so it doesn't really have any value in that sense of the world's eyes. But learning through play is a very valuable way, and that is the way humans are throughout their day, whether they're in the kindergarten or on the private jet or on the yacht or up in the clouds.
Well, speaking of like learning through play, I know it's something that we both really value, and it's something that we both really want to share to the world. Like for me, example, everything that I do, I consider it like I'm playing. I'm playing music. I'm playing an instrument. Right now we're really playing. We're playing with ideas.
Yeah,
So
we are.
we're playing with
Yeah.
ideas. Basically, ideas are dangerous, but we're playing with.
They're dangerous.
Yeah, in a way, but at the same time, we're just having fun. Just being kids.
Yeah.
And that idea. So tell me a little bit more, because I really want to see your perspective on, like, because I know you really value on learning through play.
Yeah.
And you really instill that idea. You really show me the importance of that idea with all these kindergartens and these places that we go to. How did you? What made you arrive on that conclusion?
So fun is supposed to be for free. If you put a price tag to fun, then that just shows that you're not really pure in your love. So that's the reason why I would never put a price tag on my so-called preaching or educating or teaching or consulting or speaking. Like right now, I'm not asking you, hey, Darren, pay me for my time on your podcast. Right? I'm not going to do the American salesman approach that most people would. Hey, I'm an author, I'm an actor, I have my times were taken. No, because this is playing, this is fun, we're throwing ideas. So you lose the fun, I think, when you bring these timelines involved, which define, categories of percentages and money. So to answer your question, the reason why I have random experiences that I captured on camera, on a website called Udemy, and they're considered some courses about some random philosophies that I kind of discovered myself or I learned from other individuals, and I put on a camera in these beautiful environments around the United Kingdom when I was having fun on a $21 million movie set back in 2017. I was just having fun. I was playing around. So I recorded whatever, and then I put it on Udemy, and then I realized that let me charge in the beginning. Initially, my intention was to do it for free. But then you start seeing the way of the world, and you're like, hey, let's put some price tags on it. So I did that. And then I realized that the reach is being limited. There's not that many people that are being aware of this content. And I mean, I thought it's the best thing to share with the world. Today, I don't care about whatever I put out there. I don't value it as much. So I was like, let me remove the price tag and put it for free. It was $0. And then it turns out it's like 6,000 plus human beings in 144 countries who speak more than 40 plus languages have seen these videos or these courses or this being were given access to the content that I was inspired to create. And I don't believe it would have got to that degree of distribution worldwide if I put a price tag on it, because that shows right away that you can't enter my country unless you pay $1, like they do on the highways in the U.S. to the next state. So I feel like it needs to be a free country, a free land. That's how it all was, right? The fruits and the vegetables were never charged for before; they were free. But then man came up with the idea of a grocery store and farming and all that. Today we have to pay for the bananas you have right there. So the point is that I'm a firm believer in free education. I consider myself an early childhood education researcher, and I do not walk around with a degree in the world. I've studied at three different institutions in three different parts of the world. And schools have hired me based on their understanding of my potential to serve their students. So I didn't. I had a very interesting educational experience. It was a learning through play to continue on the vibe that you put out, where I got to go to a conventional school in Canada. Then I got to go to a college type of school in the U.S. And then I went to another university in Malaysia. But my journey that the source has been putting me on was never to complete the end, which is, hey, show up to the grad, party up with the professor, and take a picture with the paper. It never happened in that way. It's strange. And I would have loved to have that degree today. I would love to go back and hold that paper, but it doesn't mean much, because when you understand that it all comes down to trust, and that paper is a form of trust. That's why people believe in it. It's a means to develop trust with another human being. So I feel like my entire 7 years of studying in three different universities around the world was a learning through play. It was just having fun, and it's all fun and games. And yeah, a lot of money went down the drain if you look at it in that sense from a parent's perspective. But I'm grateful for the knowledge that I gained, because it brought me to the realization that every human being in this world is a child that is just trying to live the dream innocently. They don't know what they're doing, but that's fine. They're in love with learning through many different ways that they may not even perceive to be light, but it's light deep down.
Speaking of lights, cameras, and action. You mentioned your $20 million movie. Am I correct? I believe, that's the movie for Born a King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Born a King. Born a King. That's the name of the movie. Yes, yes.
What was it like filming? Was that the first Saudi Arabian produced movie?
Yeah, it really was. And yeah, I got the honor of just being around and seeing it come to life, or come to fruition, or be birthed from the deserts of Arabia to the palaces of the United Kingdom of London. And it was a beautiful experience. It's very similar to Hajj. Hajj is the pilgrimage where people go around anti-clockwise, like the solar system, around the center of planet Earth, the holy Kaaba in Mecca. So the last day of shooting on the Born a King film set, right before the wrap-up party, I saw the beauty of life that I saw when I did Hajj. In Hajj, you see every human being, a billion human beings from every part of the world, all walking together on one road, one path to one direction, wearing the same clothing, but they have different skin tones, different smiles of love, different, you know, languages they're speaking, but they're all motivated by this one unified vision. And you see that as well on a movie set, and it's beautiful. The director, the producer, the writer, the actors, the extras, the sound department, everyone in every category is literally equally interdependent, necessary for the other to exist and to help each other come to this beautiful birth of a movie or a project of a video of a film. So yeah, I saw that and I fell in love with with the film world. And today I have a channel on YouTube called The Movie Teacher, where I teach the philosophies that I believe by watching movies that I love. And yeah, it's my education as entertainment, the title of the speech I gave on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in 2017. Or as you say, learning through play. You just, learn through play. So yeah, I got to act in this movie as an actor. And I had a dream to be an actor growing up, and it happened. It really did. Right after high school, I was selected to represent the role of King Saud, who was an actual monarch in history. He was literally the wealthiest king of Saudi Arabia. So wealthy that he had, shops in Paris and London with perfumes that were distributed just for him once a year when he used to visit, or the fleet of the first ever cars that came out were at his doorstep, or in the desert you don't have winter, so he built a snow palace, right? Or like I got to play that guy, and it was amazing. And I had one main line in the movie. The rest of the parts, I was just sitting there with the big boys and just chilling, and just I'm one of the king's second sons, so I had a vital role in that sense. But thankfully, I didn't have to memorize the scripts and do all that hard work, because I just wanted to chill and have a good time, and I did. I learned a lot about life just on the movie set, and thankfully, I got paid, and I got to eat some good food and sleep in a palace in the desert. So I'm grateful for the experience. But I don't see myself continuing on the path of being an actor for the rest of my life, because I think the moment play becomes a painful process is when you charge yourself and tell yourself that I need to do this thing for the rest of my life till the day I die, and if I don't, then I am unsuccessful. So just because I got one great gig of being an actor or being a speaker doesn't mean I am this for the rest of my life, and I have to be confined to this. And if I don't, then what? Who cares? I've worked at a restaurant. I've done so many different things in this world where it's like, who the hell are you? I'm like, I don't know who I am. You tell me.
Human being.
That's the answer.
But for some people, I know for a lot of musician friends that I know, even for myself to a very strong degree, is the reason for us. The music to me is like a way of self redemption. It's like I don't know who I am, but when I begin to start making music, as I go deeper and deeper with music, I I realize who I am on a very deep level, and it's something that I would like to do for the rest of my life, continually. It's not like that's the only thing I would do. But if that were the only thing I would do, I would be satisfied. And also, if it is also it's also a practice that I would like to practice on a daily basis, because I would like to see how far I can get and how deep I can get to know myself. Same thing like as in like people who study martial arts, you know, it becomes it's no longer playing in a sense. It is playing, but the dimension of the playing field changes as you evolve, and your understanding of the craft gets more deeper and refined.
Yeah, so it's like an ocean that opens up in so many different parts of the world. It's the same water, but you're flowing. So you're in a new, deeper realm of your path of mission.
But speaking of that path, man, you were telling me, because I know how much, when we went to Miami, you really embody the character of Scarface. For those, um, man, I gotta see, dude, you do the Scarface impression one more time until you, because I feel like that is the practice that really reminds you of. To me, I feel like when you do that, it reminds me, like it's you're reminding yourself a part of you that is essential, albeit good or bad, but it's essential because you do you were telling me you did idolize Scarface to an extent because it related, like just like that movie teacher idea, like the movie philosophically was very, you resonate with that movie's philosophical idea, and it became like kind of like a life lesson and a guidance. Do you want to expand a little bit more on that?
Mm. In high school, I was suffering from a lot of different forms of trauma that, of course, were stemming from early childhood. You know, let's call it experiences. You know, some people can call it abuse. Some people call it, whatever. Let's call it experiences. Everyone had an experience. It's a good, casual way of, concluding that life is just a random whole bunch of experiences, and whatever has happened technically is all part of the process. Like, to get the skateboard out on the market, you have to chop that tree. You have to shred it in the factory of British Columbia. So we need to go through so much to get to where we're gonna be going. We'll never know where that is, but that's the beauty of life, that we have to love in the process unconditionally, irrespective of what it appears to be on the outside. So I was suffering from so much in high school, not knowing what I'm suffering from. And I was abusing, different forms of narcotics, and driving cars fast and drifting and all that type of stuff that is just a expression of your pain, right? Skipping school, getting expelled or detention and suspension, and then spraying fire extinguishers off the roof of the kindergarten section, and then it goes on and on. But the point is that I love that. I love that part of my life. I love schools for whatever the hell they did to me. I don't blame them. They taught me ABCs, one, two, threes, and today I can, calculate a budget for something on my phone through the Apple calculator app, thanks to probably math class, even though I hated math my whole life, right? Or I could, book a ticket because I can read like Google Google, like thanks to like that whatever class. So I don't look bad at the educational world anymore. I don't hate schools anymore. And I love all my teachers for whatever they were. There's some that kind of gave a negative bully vibe. Some were like so loving to me, like they kind of like helped me cheat on tests. I've had those type of teachers too. So I love it all. There's good and bad, and it has to be there in order to recognize either, right? As they say, yin yang. So in my second last year of high school, grade 11, I was, skipping school literally majority of the week, going to my best friend at that time's house in his dad's living room where no one's allowed to sit, and we used to watch the Scarface film, classic movie, gangster criminal type of genre, and it was a beautiful film, but we didn't know why. It's because the state of that actor was the state of our present existence at that moment. So the pain that he was in real life, or just captured on camera through the film story by him playing the character of Tony Montana, whatever that is, in essence, that energy, whatever he is encompassing, was what we were encompassing. So there was a resonance, there was an attraction, there was a beautiful synergy by watching him, like as if he's a saint. But he was Scarface. And today I see the saint within him, because he was a healer to me in that part of my life. But I don't need him anymore. And that's why I have kissed him goodbye before I left Miami, the city where they filmed the movie, one of the locations. And it was on South Beach when we went there, and it was a beautiful experience. But I realized that, learning the lines of the film, going in the mirror and rehearsing and practicing every time we're in the bathroom, me and my buddy, we used to just go crazy and possess ourselves in him to such a degree that it became our reality. Now, we didn't get in the cocaine dealing business. We didn't get into, that extent of that state. But if you focus on something long enough, you'll literally duplicate that duality or delusion in your reality. So I saw some effects of that focus upon me. I saw how when I was on the movie set of Born a King, they selected me to kind of be like a Saudi Scarface through King Saud's character. And the makeup artist, I remember he even put a scar on my face. I was like, what's going on? This is just too much. And on the set, I met one of the producers, Stuart Sutherland, if he's watching. I love you, man. He lives in the UK, cool guy. And him and I clicked on the set because he saw me and he's like, and we both did a Scarface impersonation, and it was a beautiful moment. And he told me when he was in high school, he had a best friend who was also rehearsing the lines with him. So that made me realize, like, oh my God, like I'm not alone on this journey. And there's probably something that him and I, suffered from similarly that made us have that synergy. And he loved me and he was like, yo, you got to be in our movie. So then they put me on set. So based on that, I feel like life is supposed to be exactly the way it is. And whatever is happening, whatever comes, it's all perfect. You just have to perceive that perfection from now. So then there's peace in the process. And just be patient with the pain because you know what? The pleasure will come. Inshallah, as they say.
Inshallah. What is Islam to you?
It's a way of life, yeah.
What is that way of life?
Well, Islam comes from the word salam. Salam means peace. But how do you adopt the philosophy or the reality of Islam to make it a way of life? You have to follow a path that was prescribed to humans through the presence of an individual by the name of Prophet Muhammad. May peace and blessings be upon him and his family. We say that out of respect in the religion. Every time his name is mentioned, we wish peace and blessings upon him and his family. So he was just a source of guidance to mankind, and he still is, because we don't believe his presence disappears just because the physical body is not walking around downtown Toronto, So it's the energy that lives on, and that energy is encompassed in the qualities, the traits, the attributes, which we call Asma al-Husna, or Allah's 99 names. And these like, what makes you fall in love with somebody's character, whether they're on screen in a movie or whether they're your partner or your family member. Like, there's something that we're all in awe of in someone else. That is, in essence, deep down, behind the scenes, a name of Allah or a name of God, a quality, a trait, an attribute, a characteristic that you're really in love with. So we believe that to live a peaceful way of life, you have to just follow a prophet that was given that awareness of how to incorporate these philosophies of spirituality in a day-to-day way. So then when you follow that path, you experience what every human being is seeking to experience, a state of peace on earth, because everyone has things they're suffering from and pain and problems in their life. But the way to get out of them is not through intoxicating yourself on substances or overindulging in alcohol or any of these type of escapes that are just temporary. Right? There's so many other forms of escape, like binging on Netflix or escaping to Miami like we did on a plane. Whatever it is, these are all escapes. But the thing is that, like, you gotta just be comfortable with the way you are and the way things are, and the way to accept that and embrace that and come to terms with whatever is by remembering why you're here, praising whatever is here, which we call being grateful. So, Prophet Muhammad was given a revelation that happened at different points of his journey of life. He was in different states of pain. He was suffering from so many different things, like all human beings suffer from. And at those times, he received answers to his problems. You know, in math, we try to solve a problem. There's an answer that we get right, and we get a good grade on the exam. So it's these problems that were solved through the journey of his life that became a means of guidance to humanity, that are compiled today and prescribed to be saved by the source itself, where no man can ever, or woman, or any human being can ever alter that, because it's just there's like a spiritual protection upon this prescribed presentation of the path of peace called the Holy Quran. And Andrew Tate and all these people are really talking about it nowadays. It's something they really feel like they connect with. And this is just something that is true to billions of human beings, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe or how to follow anything. I think it's just something we're all seeking: love, happiness, or we call it peace. And the way to feel that is by following someone who knew how to incorporate that feeling of peace and be in a state of peace throughout their day. And they really say that all you got to do is praise, be grateful. And that's what the Holy Quran starts with. Alhamdulillah. All praise and thanks to the Lord of the worlds. Because there is more than just this world that we're living in. There's probably so much that we can't fathom. But we have planets to kind of, assume something and dream on. Who knows, maybe one day we can go visit the Miami in the solar system.
So that pathway, is that a pathway? Is that a pathway for yourself?
I feel a connection to that pathway because I did get the opportunity to visit the holy city of Medina, which is the city where Prophet Muhammad's presence is, at a mosque where there's a green dome. And I've been there physically, and it was beyond what a nightclub could offer or what a private island could make you feel like, or Dubai, as everyone's dreaming to go there in the US. It's something that you can't really put into words. It's something that you really would love to feel if you got the chance to go. So I've been there and I've felt that presence, which has the path in it if you enter it. And everyone's able to really enter that city and visit the Holy Prophet Muhammad in his royal chambers, of just the presence. It's like it's not really a graveyard. It's not really a worshiping center. It's like a museum. You go there, you see the beauty of it's all in gold, and you just see it, and you can make a prayer. You could just feel whatever. You can connect to the power telepathically or with your heart, and you'll feel something. And I felt something, so that's why I feel like that path is true. It's peaceful. It's light. It's guiding me, and I have to trust it and not reject it, and just go with whatever's coming, and surrender to the source if I want serenity. If I don't, and I want misery, as your song, Awaken Misery, you can be all awakened with this knowledge and read all these books, and you can have these amazing psychedelic experiences in ayahuasca and shrooms and whatever, LSD, like Steve Jobs did. And you could be in a state of an awakened misery, because you can have it all up here, but down here you're empty. And that's what you need to fill the heart, the holy heart within us, which is what Prophet Muhammad helps you do. And he's not asking for a penny in return. So I'm part of this this path of love, and I would love to invite anyone on it. And I feel like you've already accepted the invitation, and that's why we are here today on a podcast, which is a means of pulling everyone else on this path of love, right? It's just love.
Really is. But do you think love can become easily manipulated? Because I came up with the idea of like, for example, like you kill love with love. Too much love will kill you. Because you can do things in the name of love that is actually against love.
Tell me more.
Just like how you can use the word freedom to hijack freedom.
Wow. Love is not a real word. That's what he's saying. Nor is freedom. These words are made by men and women in history who came up with 4 letters and put it together. LOVE. It has a power to it. I'm not saying it doesn't. But you see, if you go to the source that created the concept of love, in Islam, we understand the word love in the Arabic terms of wadud. Wadude. Wadud. And it means in English the infinite source of love. So when you go to the source in the name that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, it wasn't him coming up with a concept and like spelling it out on paper, because he didn't know how to read or write, so he couldn't have wrote the Quran or imagined it or anything like that. He was known to be an illiterate human being. But it's the people who are perceived to be so dumb that have so much, such a destiny. So the point is that the reality of life is wadud, or is love. Everyone loves love. But if you are stuck in the man-made word or spelling of that power, then of course it could lead to confusion, which is what Darwin is, I think, touching on. But if you go to the source of that it can't even be, nothing can do justice to even come up with representing that in the English language, because the English language has limitations to it. I mean, I'm sure every language does, but the point is that wadud, that term itself, it's not you're not in control of that. Like, you're in control of the world. You could just play around with the word LOVE, on a Valentine's Day card, but you cannot play around with that word. It's something else. It's a total different reality that you can't. It's say I've meditated with this name of God, and it's taken over. It's like you can't control it. You can't do anything. You can't. But so it's maybe that would be a solution, or maybe that would be a form of healing or a helper to people who may be on that edge of what to do. And
yeah, it's very interesting because for the Chinese character, Chinese is a very symbolic language, right? Something that I always emphasize.
Yes.
Is that it's mostly in our writings. That's just why Chinese and Japanese we can write the same word and say it differently. So it's with Korean, with Vietnamese, you can like with the character love. It's really, to my knowledge, everybody can correct me if I'm wrong or can add me in. Is that it's made up of a heart and kind of compassion, compassionate, and with so like imagine like seeing a heart symbol and seeing a compassionate symbol and seeing like everything else all in one, and then just boom in your face, and it's like that is love, and it's like you see it, you see love, you get to, it's like you're looking at a painting, so imagine love is drawn to you in a painting, and then you use that painting as a form of language. That's what the Eastern characters are trying to indicate, whether in the, in Hanzi, in Kanji, Hanja, I believe the Vietnam word is like Chunong. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's so you can say whatever it is. That's the thing. You can say whatever it is, because language is very limited, right? We can only make so many vowels, struggling with like singing. You can only learn so much vowels. You can only speak so many stuff. You know, it's you know you can't. Yeah, only like it's like you gotta be a robot sometimes to understand tonal language, like what to make the sound of making, if it's language, but it's a painting, and that goes beyond, you know. And that's something even a robot can understand because that takes a soul to really understand.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
To feel the artistry in it.
Mm.
But speaking of artistry, man, what do you think your next artistic venture would be? Now you think, because you just really admitted that you're done with acting,
Mm-hmm.
and you never told you first time hearing this. First time hearing this, and I know you do have a lot of you do plan with motivational speaking, with public speaking in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a passion of yours.
Mm.
Is there anything else that you wish to pursue?
There's a project called Areas 99 that was conceived in 2019, and it has the power to help humanity through healing, and it can happen in infinite forms. There's no limitations to a category or an industry. Um, through art. I mean, I remember learning children. There's a art is a therapy for children in schools. Um, so yeah, there's infinite ways for one to connect to Areas 99 and work um, on healing themselves. I think every human being is seeking that healing. And I remember we conducted an Areas 99 session, or an A99 pill that you and your partner popped when we were in this living room here once upon a time in the morning, about an experience we had, and it was a spiritual drug that you intoxicate yourself in without depending on a physical substance or an actual pill. It's just a meditation. So I'm very passionate about pursuing, you know, the artistic venture of releasing Areas 99 to the public. It's been a very private project for some time, and we're starting. You know, we have a club where, you know, we meet and gather and you know, get together from all over the world. Sometimes it's at a physical location. Sometimes it's online, and we have these type of sessions, healing collaborations, where we all just talk and really open up and help each other through names of Allah that we encompass. Because what does Areas 99 stand for? Have you ever thought of that? You know, you've probably heard of Area 51 right near Vegas, where the aliens land and they do their experiments with the U.S. government. But Areas 99 stands for, and Darren, do you have the answer? Do you know?
Put him on the spot right here. Um, no, I would need to. I don't want to mess it up here.
It's good. It's good. Let's keep it a mystery. But it's a space for humans, or for you to be at peace in. It's a sanctuary. It's a monastery. But it's not confined to a location, to a city, to a specific spot in the city. No, it's just inside of you. And all we do is help you become aware of that part of you. And when you do, you're good to go. And yeah, so you come and you get the pack of the pills, the A99 pills, through the 99 names of Allah. And once you have developed your connection and trust and understanding and relationship with those powerful names that encompass all realities in this world, then you go on your way and you're guided, and you're you're good to go for being a free human being that has fun in every moment of existence, and you remain in love forever, right? So that's what we seek to do. So we have a club, we have a where we have these private gatherings, and then we have a school which is basically to do with establishing orphanages and helping uh, children of the world, and but it's all free, it's all unconditional, because we believe in free education. We're not trying to make a
So is it
buck.
kind of like is it a retreat that you're trying to do?
In a way, you could look at it like a retreat, yeah.
Do people have to actually physically be in a place?
No, no, no. It doesn't have to be, but we are starting with Zoom for now, a Zoom session with a few different individuals in different parts of the world who are all seeking to learn about the Area 99 within them that they never really knew about since kindergarten. They didn't know, even though if they're PhD students at some big university. So we're like, hey, there's a part of you that we're going to help you discover, and when you discover that, you'll be good for the rest of your life. You'll be happy forever. You'll be peaceful forever. There will be nothing in your way, and
But
it's
how do you know that they will be peaceful forever?
because if they have developed a relationship with the powers that created everything in existence, or that one source that manifests through these 99 names, then in every moment it's like a mental, like if you ever played Grand Theft Auto, you have an option of weapons that you can reach out to, and you can shoot or do whatever. And I know this sounds very dark, but the point is, like, you have access to these.
You have an arsenal of choices that you can,
Yes.
of philosophical concepts that can be very useful in the real life because they're very similar cases.
Yes.
Hmm.
And you can tap into those powers in that moment. So when Spider-Man sees a woman getting robbed on the streets of New York City with, a purse, he can tap into his spider web and help her. But what if I told you there's 99 other powers that you can tap into in that moment, and you're not confined to that one spider web? Of course you're gonna be good for the rest of your life in different circumstances. There are different names that can help you achieve and solve different problems, or give you the peace that you're suffering to feel because of whatever circumstance. So it's like, people go to these quick antidepressants and they have to call their therapist. But we're like, hey, we don't need to even waste money on calling anyone. You don't need to buy anything from the pharmacy. You go within. So it's like, you want to call it a school, a hospital, a therapy, a retreat, a club. These are all great names, but it's Areas 99. Yes, there is another part of it called the advisory, where we deal with high net worth clients that are, seeking a very high station of the world, and or they have high problems in their station of being kings, emperors, queens, sultans, princes, prime ministers, presidents, people who want to achieve those levels in society, or people who are not at all satisfied with their state and they seek contentment. We deal with them privately through an advisory one-on-one. It's not in the group sessions like the club has. And yeah, we have a blog as well. We have a blog, and it's just a free blog where you can read interesting, concepts and truths and philosophies, and learn a lot about life, and comment and add your thoughts as well. It's the website should be in the link in the bio of this video. So we're looking forward to having you all. Welcome at Areas 99.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Areas 89.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it stands for, man?
All realities encompass Allah. Through, I gotta get this. Through the 99 names of Allah. Darwin has a secret here in his home. If anyone visits, you're good to go.
Yeah, man. No, always. Just it's really nice to be honest. Man, but do you? Okay. I was I've listened very. I think film is very interesting. You know,
Hmm.
and yeah, we'll talk more about film
Sure.
after we finish this podcast, though, because I gotta talk to you about film and other stuff.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
good
Let's
time
get
for
into
stuff.
making some
But yeah,
movies.
but no, I think before we wrap it up, I just want to ask. You know, I think I've been. What is okay? What is an advice for well, okay, before, what is an advice for children, for young people? Advice
Hmm.
for young people. What would you give?
Don't suffocate yourself. So when mom and dad say something and it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel like you, tell them how you feel. Don't keep it within you. Don't hide your feelings. Don't hold back. Scream and shout and let it all out. You got to do that. Because if you don't, it's going to haunt you. You're going to be in a horror movie every day of your life. And you're going to hate yourself. You don't want that. You want to love you. So to love you, you got to be you. That means you got to be honest with yourself by not listening to your head. You got to listen to your heart. Your head's going to control you. Your head is full of people telling you things outside of you of what to do. The school, the parents. There's truth to that. They're right in some times or some areas. But you have to listen to the parent or the teacher within your heart that knows truly when's it good to eat the cereal or not. Like I have a cousin Hussein. He might be watching. The guy is so unique. We're at a family gathering. He'll eat his breakfast at dinner time and he'll eat the breakfast in a way where it's like, you're not going to mix the cereal with the milk. What are you doing? He's like, no, I'm going to drink milk in a glass and I'm going to eat the cereal with my hands or with a spoon. It's like, are you crazy? Well, that's what his heart is telling him to do. And that's how he knows it's best for him to digest, maybe. I don't know. The doctors will never know. The doctors will say, yeah, this kid's crazy. Or mom and dad will just think that their kid's an embarrassment to society. But guess what? He knows what's best for him. Because I think God Almighty, Allah, the power that created you and I, or every human being in existence, knows what's best for us and he guides us, or this power guides us and gives us the goodness in every second of existence. So we have a custom made educational curriculum within us that we have to tap into that unfolds naturally in the course of life. But we have to love whatever comes and not judge it and question it and fear not following what the head is telling me. It's all bullshit. It's all insecurities. It's all fear. You have to let go and have full faith and trusting that inner voice within you, that whisper, that guidance to your heart that is very silent. It whispers. Remember, the head doesn't, it screams. So you cannot listen to your head. You have to be wary of the voices. There are different voices. There's one here that shouts and demands and gets you to feel like you're missing out. FOMO, social media. And there's a heart that knows that everything's fine, knows that there's a time for everything. You don't have to worry too much and stress and have anxiety or feel depressed. If something didn't happen in the way that you thought it should have happened, or you're not sure about what's going to happen tomorrow, well, you'll never know. Forget it. It's a mystery. Let go and love this moment. Be present with whatever is. And that's how you're going to feel at peace. If you're a child or a teenager, I know how it feels. I was there. And yeah, you'll be all right. Everyone's going to be all right.
Wow. I think lastly is what would you say to your 30-year-old, 30 years later, if you, to your 30 years older version of you, what would you what would you want him to have done? To have lived life a certain way. What would you how would you want him to how would you look back?
One thing, just feeling content, whatever happened. Don't call it the hell. Don't hope for another heaven for the rest half of your life. If I'm alive till 99, we're talking about like if I'm 56 years old right now, he's asking a question how I'm gonna feel about whatever happened or happening or I wish would have happened. And I think I don't know. I really never know. I don't know if I'm gonna even live that long. And if I do, I don't know um if I've got the experiences that I right now I'm seeking in life. You know, maybe to be a dad and have kids one day or whatever. Um, but it's fine. Whatever happens, I want to be fine with that. Um, you know, and I want to not be in that state of dreaming for a beautiful future. I want to be just content with whatever is. And that's all there is to it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mohammed Usman Ali, The Realm of Darwin, episode 3, officially. Oh, there you go, man. Thank you.
I love being me. Thank you for being you.
Oh, man.
And God bless you.
All right.
Allah
Take care, folks. All right. You can pause it now, Angela.